Imagine a man who built an empire on charm and talent suddenly painted as a monster in the eyes of millions. Johnny Depp, the iconic actor known for Pirates of the Caribbean and so many unforgettable roles, found himself in the fight of his life not just for his reputation but for the truth. The 2022 defamation trial against Amber Heard exposed shocking moments that flipped the narrative entirely. From explosive audio recordings to testimonies that left the courtroom stunned, these revelations changed everything for millions of fans who stood by him. Today we dive deep into those pivotal turning points that proved his side and restored faith in justice. Stay with me because this story reveals how one man's courage to speak up reshaped public perception forever. The defamation trial between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard began in April 2022 in Fairfax County, Virginia, and it quickly became one of the most watched court cases in recent history. Johnny Depp took the stand first and spoke calmly about why he had to fight back after years of what he described as false accusations that destroyed his career and reputation. He explained that he never struck Amber Heard in his life and that the claims against him were simply not true. Fans around the world who had loved him for decades watched closely because this was not just about money, it was about clearing his name. Depp detailed how their relationship started with sparks on the set of The Rum Diary in 2009, but over time things turned chaotic with constant arguments and what he called emotional and physical abuse directed at him. As the trial unfolded, audio recordings played in court shocked everyone. In one clip, Heard could be heard admitting she hit Depp and even mocking him for it, calling him a baby. She said things like, "I did hit you and I am sorry I hit you," but then laughed about it. This moment changed a lot for people following the case because it showed a different side than the public narrative that had painted Depp as the aggressor for years. Depp sat there listening with a composed expression while his lawyers pointed out how these private moments proved his truth. Witnesses who worked for the couple also took the stand, and many said they never saw Depp hit Heard, but they did see her become aggressive toward him on multiple occasions. One security guard described seeing Heard punch Depp in the face, and another recalled moments where she threw objects at him during fights. The story went back to their marriage in 2015, which lasted only about 15 months but was filled with intense ups and downs. Depp talked about how he tried to make it work even as substance issues from his past came up, but he insisted he never became violent toward her. Instead, he described walking away from arguments to avoid escalation while Heard would follow and continue the conflict. Public opinion started shifting as more details emerged because for so long after their divorce in 2017 the media had largely accepted Heard's side without question. But in this Virginia courtroom the evidence told a fuller picture. Depp lawyers presented texts and messages where Heard expressed anger and control, and they highlighted how Depp had lost major roles like in Pirates of the Caribbean because of the allegations. One of the most discussed incidents from the trial involved an event in Australia in 2015 while Depp was filming Pirates of the Caribbean 5. He described a massive fight where Heard threw a vodka bottle that smashed and severely injured his finger, cutting off the tip. Depp showed the injury in court and explained how he had to write messages on the walls with his own blood afterward in a moment of distress. Medical records and photos backed up his account, and this testimony left the jury and viewers stunned because it was graphic and specific. Heard denied causing the injury, but the physical evidence and timeline made it hard to ignore. Fans who supported Depp felt validated seeing these details come out after years of him staying mostly silent. Another turning point came when Depp friends and former partners testified on his behalf. They described him as a gentle person who avoided violence, and many said they witnessed Heard being the one who started physical confrontations. Kate Moss, a longtime friend of Depp, took the stand and spoke positively about his character, which created a powerful moment because her words carried weight in Hollywood. The courtroom heard how Depp had helped many people quietly over the years and how the abuse claims did not match the man they knew. Meanwhile, Heard team tried to counter with their own experts and stories, but the audio clips and witness consistency kept building Depp case stronger. People watching live streams on social media started commenting how the trial was revealing a story of a man who had been silenced for too long. Depp also opened up about his struggles with substances, admitting he used them to cope with the pain of the relationship, but he firmly stated that even at his lowest he never hit a woman. This honesty resonated with audiences because it showed vulnerability without excusing anything. The trial was not perfect, but it allowed both sides to present evidence under oath and cross-examination. As days passed, the shocking moments kept coming, like when Heard claimed certain injuries, but photos and timelines from Depp's side raised questions about consistency. Experts later pointed out discrepancies in some of her accounts, which further shifted momentum. Johnny Depp remained dignified throughout, rarely raising his voice and focusing on facts, which made him appear credible to many observers. By the end of the first weeks, the public conversation had changed dramatically, from assuming guilt to questioning the original narrative. Millions of supporters online used hashtags to stand with Depp, and the trial became a cultural phenomenon discussed everywhere, from news channels to TikTok. It highlighted how quickly reputations can be damaged and how important it is to hear the full story. Depp said in his testimony that he filed the lawsuit to get his life back and to show the world the truth. The evidence presented, including those private recordings where Heard admitted to hitting him and starting fights, became key pieces that many felt proved his point. This was not about one side winning at all costs, but about accountability and justice in a very public way. The case also brought attention to the idea that men can be victims of domestic abuse too, and that society sometimes overlooks it, especially when the man is a big star. Depp's story showed the isolation he felt when friends and colleagues distanced themselves after the initial allegations. Yet he pushed forward with the trial because staying quiet was no longer an option. As more witnesses shared their observations, the picture became clearer that the relationship had been toxic from both sides, but the physical aggression often came from Heard, according to the testimonies. One doctor who evaluated Heard noted signs that raised doubts about some claims, while Depp's medical history aligned with the injuries he described. These details built a compelling narrative that kept viewers hooked day after day. Through it all, Johnny Depp maintained his respect for the process and focused on clearing his name rather than attacking back personally. His fans appreciated that grace under pressure because it matched the kind-hearted characters he had played on screen for so many years. The trial was exhausting for everyone involved, but it delivered moments of raw truth that could not be ignored. From the finger incident to the audio admissions, each revelation peeled back layers of what really happened behind closed doors. Supporters felt relieved seeing the evidence unfold because it confirmed what many had suspected all along, that Johnny Depp had been through something deeply unfair. The courtroom became a place where facts mattered more than headlines, and that shift changed everything for how people viewed the entire situation. As the proceedings continued, the world watched a man fighting not just for himself but for anyone who has ever been wrongly accused. Depp's calm demeanor and detailed recollections stood in contrast to moments where emotions ran high on the other side. This authenticity helped sway opinions and brought his dedicated fans even closer to him. The shocking moments from those weeks in court remain etched in memory for anyone who followed closely, because they exposed a reality far different from the initial public story. Johnny Depp's courage to stand up and present his truth marked a turning point that restored hope for fairness in high-profile cases. The evidence spoke volumes, and it continues to remind us that listening carefully to both sides with an open mind is essential before jumping to conclusions. This part sets the foundation for understanding how the trial unfolded and why it mattered so much to Depp and his supporters around the globe. The revelations kept building as more days passed in the Virginia courthouse, leading to even bigger shifts in perception. The shocking moments kept building as the trial moved forward, with more witnesses taking the stand and revealing details that challenged the earlier public story about Johnny Depp. One powerful testimony came from Depp's former assistant, who described seeing Heard throw a can of Red Bull at him and noted how Depp often tried to de-escalate situations by leaving the room. This pattern repeated in several accounts where Depp was portrayed as the one avoiding conflict, while Heard pushed for arguments that sometimes turned physical. In court, Depp explained how he felt trapped in a cycle of emotional turmoil where his attempts at peace were met with more aggression. The jury heard audio where Heard said, "You did not get hit, I did not punch you," and then moments later admitted, "Yes, I did hit you." These contradictions played a huge role in shifting opinions because they showed a lack of consistency that raised serious questions. Fans who had supported Depp from the beginning felt a sense of relief as these recordings proved what he had been saying all along, that he was the one enduring the abuse. Another key moment involved the testimony about the bed incident where human waste was found on Depp's side of the bed after a fight. Depp team presented evidence suggesting it was left intentionally as a form of humiliation, and witnesses confirmed the disgusting surprise that left him horrified. This detail horrified many viewers and highlighted the toxic nature of the relationship from Heard's side, according to the claims. Depp spoke about it with visible discomfort but maintained his composure, explaining how such acts contributed to his decision to separate. Medical experts also took the stand, and one psychologist hired by Depp lawyers evaluated Heard and found signs of personality disorders that could explain some of the behaviors described. This professional opinion added weight to Depp's narrative and helped the jury see the bigger picture beyond just he said, she said. Meanwhile, Depp's own struggles with addiction were discussed openly, but he made it clear they never led him to harm her physically. His honesty about those issues made him more relatable to audiences who appreciated his willingness to own his flaws while denying the false accusations. As the weeks progressed, the trial featured moments that went viral almost instantly, like when Depp described writing on mirrors and walls with his injured finger in blood after the Australia incident. He said the pain was immense and he was in a state of shock trying to process what had happened. Photos of the damage were shown in court and they matched his timeline perfectly, leaving little room for doubt in many minds. Heard denied throwing the bottle, but the physical evidence, including doctors who treated the finger, supported Depp's version. This incident became a focal point because it demonstrated real injury rather than just words, and it changed how people viewed the severity of their fights. Supporters online rallied harder, sharing clips and facts to counter the old narrative that had damaged Depp's career so badly. Hollywood had turned its back on him for a time, dropping him from lucrative franchises, but the trial started to repair some of that damage by showing the truth. Kate Moss' testimony stood out as one of the most memorable because she flew in to speak on Depp's behalf and described him as a kind and nonviolent person she had known for years. Her words carried enormous credibility, and when she denied any stories of him pushing her downstairs, it directly countered some of Heard's claims. The courtroom fell silent during her appearance, and it became a turning point that boosted Depp's side even more. Other friends, like musician friends and former colleagues, echoed similar sentiments, painting a picture of a man who was generous, loyal, and far from the monster image that had been pushed in the media. Depp also faced tough cross-examination, but he handled it with wit and patience, often smiling at absurd questions which made him appear authentic and human. One exchange about his texts where he joked darkly during low moments was brought up, but Depp explained they were expressions of frustration, not literal threats, and the context showed he never acted on any anger toward Heard physically. This transparency helped neutralize attempts to paint him negatively. The trial also exposed how Heard's op-ed in the Washington Post from 2018 had implied she was a victim of domestic abuse without naming Depp directly, but the timing and context made it clear who she meant. Depp sued for defamation because those words led to him losing work and respect in the industry.